Before my conversion to Islam, I lived my life as a Jew. Although my family was not traditional, I learned Judaism from traditional Jews. I went to an Orthodox synagogue and an Orthodox Jewish school. I lived and continue to live in a Jewish community in the United States in which there is little diversity. And considering how much Judaism was involved in my life, I had no non-Jewish friends. But about a year ago, I started chatting online frequently and my email contact list slowly began to fill up with more and more Muslims. I developed a strong interest in studying other religions as well as my own. I paid special attention to Islam, because I knew it wasn't a very different religion from Judaism. We share many of the Prophets, peace be upon them all, morals, values and, most importantly, we worship the same God, Allah. Although I knew a lot about Islam and that it was a peaceful religion, I can't say that it didn't have stereotypes. I was lucky because I met many Muslims online, including my girlfriend, one, who I consider my guide to Islam. She led me to the gates of Islam and Allah led me the rest of the way. I decided to go deeper into the faith. In doing so, I discovered flaws in my own religion. According to the Old Testament, the great prophet Aaron committed the worst possible sin. Due to the pressure put on him by the people as they waited for Moses to return with the Torah from Mount Sinai, he built an idol. How could a great prophet commit one of the three sins that are so great that one would prefer death before committing them? In the Quran, Moses goes down and sees the Jews worshipping the golden calf. At first he thinks it's Aaron's creation and gets angry with him. Then he discovers that other Hebrews had created the idol. A lot can be learned from this story. Would a nation of people led by God really be forgiven for such a sin? My view of this story is in line with the Islamic view that the Old Testament has been altered over the years. In the past there were Kohanim, religious leaders in the Holy Temple, who were corrupt. Couldn't they have easily changed Judaism to make it easier and shorter to observe in order to make more money from their professions? Another surprising factor that led me to Islam was the scientific truth written in the Quran. The Quran mentions human embryonic development long before it was discovered by science. We created man of the essence of clay. Then we made him a drop of sperm, which we inserted in a safe place. Then we turned the drop of sperm into something that clings, turned the clot into a fetus and turned the fetus into bones. Then we clothed the bones in flesh. Then we developed him into another creature. Blessed be God, Creator par excellence. Quran 23:12-14. The Quran also mentions how mountains are formed and talks about the layers of the atmosphere. These are just a few of the many scientific discoveries mentioned in the Quran 1,400 years before they were discovered by science. Here is one of the key factors that led me to explore my heart to discover the truth of life. In Arabic, the word Islam comes from salama, which means to submit, purity, and peace, come from the same root. One submits to Allah, the One, the Merciful and the Beneficent, whereas other religions take their names from people. Judaism comes from the tribe of Judah, Christianity from Jesus Christ, etc. Islam is a word derived from a verb. Anyone who submits to Allah and believes in all the prophets is a true Muslim. Many of the great prophets mentioned in the Old Testament lived before Judaism and Judah. They submitted to God and were therefore all Muslims. And we must live as the prophets lived, because they were great human beings. Considering my situation of being very young and living in an all-Jewish area, it would be difficult for me to have my beliefs accepted. My parents and relatives are very respectful, but I'm not sure how they would react if their own son reverted to Islam. So for now I'm not able to live a fully Islamic life, but thanks to Allah I'm able to pray 5 times a day, study Islam online, and at least I can believe in God openly and express these feelings. In some ways it can be very difficult. I've become more emotional than most people when I debate something involving Muslims, for example the Middle East. When I talk about Israel, my whole family supports Israel and doesn't know the truth of what's going on with the Palestinians, but I think they should have proper treatment for the Palestinians. And when they talk about this situation, I'm easily offended, especially if they bring up the idea that it's the Jewish Holy Land and Promised Land. Since I haven't told my parents about my reversion to Islam, I can't attend prayers at the mosque. As I said before, my area has little diversity and all the mosques are far away. I have never had the opportunity to make the Shahada in front of witnesses, too, although I have said the Shahada to the best witness of all, Allah. When I'm 16 in about a year, I'll be able to drive to the mosque, inshallah, God willing. The most important thing is to perfect the person I am. I try to avoid my friends who use drugs, watch pornography, drink alcohol and steal. It's not always easy to avoid close friends, but I try my best for Allah's sake. And I hope that over time my personality will reach what Allah expects of all of us. When studying the Quran, my advice to you is to read it for yourself. Searching on prejudiced websites, you won't be able to see the full content of a verse. Opening square bracket ... closing square bracket. Throughout this experience I discovered that I didn't find Islam, I re-embraced Islam. Nor did I convert, I reverted. And on my journey from darkness to light, I became stronger, more spiritual and a better human being. May Allah guide us all to the truth that I was guided to.